From Chesapeake, Virginia, the Lighthouse 100.1 presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
Sports Scene presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Greg Bicouvaris along with Colleen. Sports Scene airs Saturday on the radio and WPMH and TuneIn.com by typing WPMH in the search bar, at Greg Bick on Twitter, at Greg Bick on YouTube, all one words. Tell your friends about Sports Scene. Go to gjbtv.com, hit the contact section for all my Twitter handles, and of course Google WPMH for the latest updates here on this radio station. Thank you to our military. Guest lineup presented by gjbtv.com, as we'll talk to Justin Lee from WTAR Radio. Phone line presented by at Greg Bick on YouTube. Subscribe. gjbtv.com. The NFL, hot and heavy right now. NBA is up and at it. College and high school sports, and of course high school football on nnpstv.com. Great interviews, excellent guests, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. Thank you for listening to Sports Scene. We love our regulars and tourists who listen online and on the radio. Thank you. Just a reminder, folks, Sports Scene is taped right here at the studios of WPMH, and portions of this program are pre-recorded. Thank you for listening to Sports Scene on the radio and online.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com studios.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us on WPMH. Don't forget sports highlights on nnpstv.com, at Greg Bick on Twitter, at Greg Bick on YouTube. Subscribe, of course. Add me on Facebook as well, Greg Bicouvaris. It's a pleasure now to talk to Justin Lee, who's grown up right here in Hampton Roads, went to high school in Chesapeake, works for WTAR, hosts a show there as well. It's a pleasure now to talk to him in person in the studio. Justin Lee, how are you, my friend?
Greg, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. The World Series is on and popping, and the NBA's rolling, NFL, a lot of action out there, brother.
Absolutely. A lot going on, and you've got the nickname Jay Lee. And sure, like all of us, I'm called Bick or Greg Bick. Talk about that nickname. How did you get that one?
Well, it came from me playing baseball. Some of my coaches back in the day would just call me Jay Lee, man. My dad was always a coach too, but all the other coaches that I had in my life, friends' houses that I stayed over, they called me Jay Lee. It's funny, I never introduced myself as Jay Lee, and I always end up getting called Jay Lee, so it's a nickname that's stuck.
And now I call you Jay Lee Sink because you work for Sinclair.
That's right.
And you got to talk about your show.
That's right. Sports Radio 96.5 FM and 850 AM. I'm on 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays. I just got a bump up this past weekend, one that I surely appreciate, and I got a crew of pretty good voices in there. A lot of flavor on the show. We take calls too. We have plenty of giveaways, so make sure you check us out. Sports Radio 96.5 FM, 850 AM, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays.
Very good. Of course, Sports Scene here is from 10 to 11, but Jay Lee and I are friends, and we do business together, so you know what? We don't care. We just promote content, and that's the thing now, where 10 or 15 years ago it might have been difficult to cross-promote, but now with YouTube and all the social media, cross-promotion is very important.
Absolutely, and I enjoyed having you on about a month or 2 months ago, and it's a conversation that I like having. It's sports. That's kind of why I got into the whole sports radio thing. I got almost gifted the show, and I rolled with it. You know what I mean? And it's something that I enjoy. I want to have you on again anytime you want.
Yeah, and we had one of my co-workers from NNPS-TV, the Chesapeake schools, they do high school games as well, Nate Milton. And you always hear this on national shows or podcasts. Find us wherever your podcasts are available. Mm-hmm. But the one thing and the one reason I use YouTube for all my content, whether it's a TV commercial or Sports Scene or sports highlights, is because people can find it.
Right.
They can really find it. They'll go to YouTube, type in the search bar, like for this show, my name, your name, the name of the show, the guest. It's easy to find. That's one thing. It's still difficult because in the podcast world, where are you going to find these podcasts? It's not as easy to just find them for the average person. And you need radio and TV to promote it.
Well, it's a finite search, right? Like if you look up on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, it's a finite search. You have to be so direct and so key with the words that you're using. YouTube, it seems to be a little bit more expanded. It's easier to find, and it's something that we're working on myself with my show. We're trying to find a way so we can archive it and people can go back and revisit.
Even the Washington football team has realized that YouTube is number one. For their post-game show that Scott Jackson does, he went to Old Dominion. We've had him on our show before as well, that they broadcasted on YouTube as well. In addition to the radio, they can see him and Smoot, who are hilarious, doing the post-game show on their YouTube channel.
Well, honestly, they might need to give the team a few pointers, maybe sit them down for a couple of film sessions, because there's something not right there with the Washington football team. They got some things to pull together. A heartbreaking loss to the Green Bay Packers, but just kind of all season long, that's kind of been the trend that they've been taking this year, is not being able to push it over and get the job done.
And they barely beat the Giants early in the season. I was at that game. But you talked about the team now. It's a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
Of course, Taylor Heineke is the quarterback. He's a work in progress. Now, he's not a rookie. People think this is his first year. He's played for several years in several different teams.
Yeah, the Panthers specifically.
Right. And, of course, he knows Turner, from other regimes as well. And, of course, Ron Rivera coached the Panthers and Cam Newton for so long. The story is still out on Heineke. I think he's a work in progress.
Yes. It's going to take some time to fully develop him. We thought that he would be able to step in. At least I thought that Fitzpatrick wasn't going to be the guy. He was just a journeyman, and that Heineke should have been the guy from the jump, dating back to when he had that, again, heartbreaking loss against Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But even furthermore, I wanted him to succeed just because of the ODU tie. And that's another reason that we're here today too, is ODU, switching conferences from the the CAA? Yeah, switching conferences from them to the Sun Belt, just simply off of media coverage alone. But you got to win in order to get the media coverage in the first place. So that's something that I look forward to see kind of hopefully meet at a point.
Yeah, we'll get more to Old Dominion in a few moments, but they actually went from the CA to Conference USA, which they're in now, and there's talk about, the Sun Belt. But let me just say this, too, about Washington, is they'll probably have a losing record again this year.
Certainly.
17 games or not. They're not evolving. The defense has not clicked. Toward the end of the season last year, they were finding a way to win those games, but they went 7-10 last year. People keep on saying 7-9. It does count for a loss when they lost to Tampa Bay as well. And guess what? They're playing Tampa Bay again here soon. While this show is going to be on for several weeks, they'll play Denver coming up. And playing at 425, let me just say this, in the altitude, in the mountains at night is going to be a rude awakening for oxygen and a lot more for Washington. There are people that can't even handle it.
Well, I'm hoping someone the likes of Chase Young can handle it. He's had some pressures on the quarterback, not that many sacks compared to last year. That hasn't translated over, but then you bring in something like the elements like that, that's going to make it even tougher. And Denver, they're used to playing in those elements. So them, you might see a lot of high-paced offenses, things kind of moving quick, not letting them get a chance to get their breath and come after the quarterback.
The only thing I can relate to is like climbing up a big bunch of stairs nonstop because you're trying to inhale, exhale. It's difficult, but it'll be interesting. Probably not going to be a winning record, like we said, for Washington. We'll see what Heineke's future is. When you lose, everything is on the table.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think they will place higher than the Eagles. I think they will place higher than the Giants. I think the Giants are probably going to be last in the NFC East. Eagles, Jalen Hurts is almost having that same kind of Taylor Heineke year. Like, obviously, Eagles fans are a little more ruthless as well when it comes to their quarterbacks. They're still dreaming about the Nick Foles days, but Jalen Hurts hasn't really given them a lot to be excited about either. Devonta Smith, he is comparable to the Terry McLaurin for the Washington football team. Now, those are two high-powered pieces that you have on your offense. Can you get them the ball? Are you able to kind of keep things going, get those third-down conversions, make smart plays? These are things that we aren't seeing out of Jalen Hurts or Taylor Heineke at the moment. This
is Sports Scene. Greg Bicouvaris at Greg Bick on Twitter, talking to my friend Jay Lee from WTAR. Go ahead and plug all your social media.
So it's Sports Radio 850 on Facebook and Sports Radio 965 on Twitter. And you can also follow me at Shredda Sosa on Twitter. I kind of a little bit more interactive there. I interact with people. People are definitely more familiar with me in that sense, so they dive fully in.
Yeah, one thing, too, I'll say this, too, is like both of us, I own my own advertising agency. I used to work for Sinclair for 6 years, with a lot of the same people that are still there now, that for those of us that are in media buying, do voiceovers, do sales, and do on-air content like we do. I do a radio program here, Sports Scene and Sports Highlights, and work freelance, side hustle for the networks. You really have to do more than one thing these days. You can't just say, I got this, and do one thing. If you just relied on air, they cut your show. What do you got?
Well, right. In that sense, I'm also in sales. So, if you're interested in advertising with us, jlee at sinclairstations.com. That's, essentially what allows me to do what I do on air. I grind during the day, during the week, for sales, my show's on the weekend. Luckily now I have more voices with me, more people I can delegate things to. Like, hey, you can maybe pull this clip for me or update social media for me. I'm able to kind of pass some of those things off now, and it's actually relieving for me.
Right, I used to do a weekly show here, the News Talk 1650, when they were in News Talk over 3 years ago, from 13 to 18, and it became too much because I was doing the TV program, the side hustle, so you still have to balance it, because the bottom line is you've got to make the sales to make money so you can support you and your girlfriend.
There it is. I was about to say, that's the other part of it. Where do I find time to do things with her when I'm grinding sales, 5 days a week, and then I got the show on the weekend? Most times I just end up sleeping, and she's cool with that. She's actually a gamer, so she's like, hey, if you don't want to do anything this weekend, I completely understand, but I got to find that time, Greg. It's weighing on my shoulders, just looking over me right around the corner like, hey, I need a date night.
Yeah, I tell my friends I'm good for dinner. I like to relax. And I've worked, already 3 NFL games already this fall. But I tell you one thing, there's nothing like your couch and food and the big screen TV. That's why TV and radio are always going to be irrelevant. People need it in their car. Satellite radio is not taken off like direct TV has or the ticket. It just hasn't worked. People still like terrestrial radio to punch in the number and hear a show.
Well, Greg, you just said it too. Suppose you don't want to go to Mile High and climb all those stairs and be out of breath all just for one bathroom break, and then you got to go back down, and guess what? Oh, you forgot peanuts, so you got to go all the way back up those stairs and back down. The convenience of just watching it at home, being able to pause live TV as well, go to the bathroom, make some coffee, get a drink, and then come right back. It's that simple. We're in 2021. People do like the environment, but COVID has now made people homebodies. So this is kind of how we intake our media.
Right. Talking to Jay Lee, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us on Sports Scene. Now, when we work NFL games, the TV people have a giant booth. We're in a huge suite, lavish food with other suite holders that are spending thousands of dollars for the suite. The TV people get a nice suite. The radio network for the Washington, they used to be next door to us. They've been moved away. Now they're about further down the suite. The NFL owner's suite is right next to us. He used to have the blinds open. We could see Bernard Shaw from CNN,
wow,
and all the celebrities. Guess what? This year,
what's that?
Blinds are closed because of the drama going on in Washington.
Yeah, and even furthermore, do they do all this for you? Do they supply all this for you in hopes that you might not have such a harsh take on the team? Is that or is this just like...
It just happens to be where it's at. The regular press box for, let's say, the visiting radio is in the press box area with the traditional media, the print and the broadcast media. But the network TV broadcast and the home radio broadcast get the better benefits. They get the suites, the buffets.
Greg, they want you to write a nice piece, man. They don't want you to turn around and say, oh, Heineke didn't play well, and by the way, the filet mignon was terrible. You
got to watch what you eat, too, because it's hard to work and not have to go to the restroom, but so many times. So having a little fun right here. Also, I want to say this for my friend Mary Austin Darden, Toys for Tots. Jaylee, you know how important that is.
Oh, absolutely. Cruise
in Saturday, November 6th, 2 to 6 p.m. Cars, trucks, all cars and motorcycles are welcome. Pictures with Santa, 50-50 raffle as well going on. Music, of course, at Town Bank in Suffolk, Berkshire Hathaway as well. Great cause right here. Team Shelby, donate new unwrapped toys, or consider a donation. Town University at 6001 Harborview Boulevard, Suffolk, Virginia. Great group there at Town University and Town Bank for Toys for Tots going on, as we mentioned, on Saturday, November the 6th from 2 to 6. All right, we'll take a short break. Come back more with Jay Lee from WTAR on Sports Scene after this.
Sports Scene, Hampton Roads premier interview show with Greg Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBick and listen weekly as Greg interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM. Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
Welcome back to part 2 of Sports Scene right here. Happy holidays early right here to everybody as we're in the holiday season. Greg Bicouvaris along with Jay Lee from WTAR. Jay Lee, good to see you again. And of course, talk about where they can find your show.
You can find me on Sports Radio 96.5 FM and 8:50 AM, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays. I got a fun bunch with me. We take calls. It's been great having the second hour. I got more time to breathe. I got more time to get in some of these giveaways, and I get time to just take calls and not rush a caller off like, hey, I'm fighting the clock here. And that's the one thing, too, about podcast versus terrestrial radio. I but I started listening to ESPN, and then now I started listening to the podcast because I couldn't catch them all live. So something that I like about the live radio is being able to take the callers and interact.
And not to mention, too, absolutely. And when we record shows, we put them on demand because people love on demand as well. Like the interview segment you and I did, it's on YouTube.
Good.
You can find it right on YouTube, right under the Greg Bick YouTube parameters, or just type in our names and it'll pop up with mentions as well, too.
Very cool.
All right, let's get into this. I went to George Mason. You went to Norfolk State. I grew up in Newport News. You grew up in Chesapeake. But let's talk about the colleges here in the area that get totally bombed by the NFL. Such a big beast. You don't see nobody on Monday rarely talking about college football. High school football, other than Oscar Smith and Phoebus, nobody really talks about high school football either because the NFL is such a big king. Think about this. How often do people talk about Virginia football, Virginia Tech, Norfolk State, Hampton University, William & Mary during the week? See, that's where I think they need to do more marketing themselves, the alumni, whatever, because the attendance is not as good as at any of those schools, and I'm not picking on any of those schools, but the NFL is such a big beast around the water cooler, wherever that water cooler is, it's normally NFL chatter, and even the alumni are talking NFL too. They're going to remember, oh, by the way, Washington lost recently. Are they going to know that Virginia Tech lost to Syracuse and nitpick a little bit?
Well, think about it. I mean, the NFL has almost monopolized 3, if not later in the season, 4 days out of the week. They get your Monday, they get your Thursday, they get your Sunday, and then whenever college football completely dies down, they get your Saturday. It's it's tough to compete with that, especially being America's top sport. There's a lot of NBA action out there, so it's hard to catch all of that. Football, you got 6 to 8 games on one day, and then you get one game the next day and one game on Thursday. It's easier to consume, if you will. There's a lot going on with college football too, and let's just face it. I mean, these top SEC schools, these top Alabamas and all that, they're the ones that are like the NFL version of a college football team. So people aren't going to miss those games, and you're not going to miss Georgia to see if they can only hold a team to less than 2 touchdowns. But some of these lower schools, and also let's just it's the reality of it. If you're not winning, you're definitely getting even further less attention, and I think that's a big part of why ODU's making this move.
And here's the one thing, too, ratings. The NFL kills it in ratings over any sport, and NBA. And, of course, the NFL's had games on Christmas Day, and that's affected the NBA ratings because you got a content that's 3.5 hours long. You're eating your turkey, your chicken, and you're watching the NFL game.
I don't know anybody that missed that Buccaneers-Patriots game.
Yeah.
I mean, and year after year, it seems like somehow the NFL is able to break some kind of record as far as viewership, and they're doing it the right way. They simply go about it the right way. They market their players. I can tell you one thing, this taunting issue, even in the college football, man, this taunting's got to stop. These dudes are grinding so hard. A little bit of an ego's going to come out. I need an ego in my cornerback. And if he goes a little too far, next thing you know, my whole great play is negated. It's just wild stuff.
Right. And, nobody should bully nobody on and off the field as well. But, they're NFL athletes. You want them to get rid of their, drama on the field. They're not going around beating people up off the field. You want to get rid of your stress on the field, and sometimes that stress can go too far when you throw helmets at each other, or you see the linebacker landing on the quarterback's head. That's never good either. But football is a violent game.
Right, and I need to see football plays, and I want to see football celebrations. And I spent a whole week with you training, practicing, getting ready, and I can't hit you, Greg, because we're on the same team. You might even be my quarterback. I can't hit you. But you say you line up somebody in between me and they're on the other team. I want to give them all I have. I want to give the energy. I want to give the fans something to want to come and see as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at Wentz for the Colts. He's a lot happier now than he was in drama Philadelphia. It seems like everybody in Philadelphia that I know is just full of drama, and they are. I mean, look at the Sixers, Ben Simmons. Some of the people I know personally from Philly are dramatic. I don't know what is it about that area. It's just one of the most dramatic areas. We're probably going to have a losing record this year, and nothing seems to be working. But like you said earlier, the NFL is a beast, and people are going to remember those games. They stick, and I got to give Goodell a lot of credit. Look what he's got at halftime for the Super Bowl. He's got Snoop Dogg,
Dr. Dre, Mary J. Yeah.
I mean, all you need now will be a perfect silhouette of Pac. If you had Pac up there as a silhouette, that would be perfect, because whether you liked him or not, he was transcending music.
Yeah, and they've even tried to, re-immerse with holograms of Tupac and trying to keep his name alive and his memory alive and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, even then, like, people that don't even watch football, dang well they gather around to watch that Super Bowl halftime show, to watch the commercials. I mean, it is a great product. Year after year, it's going to be the top tier of MLB, of NBA, and of college football. Now, March Madness, that's where the needle starts kind of swinging back, but by then, football's done. Yeah,
March Madness is great for that 1 month, but really, the thing is, the NFL is deep in February now. That kills college basketball, too. What are you going to do, go out on a 20-degree day and go see a game? Now, I still like to go to games in person, but in moderation. All right, a team that's struggling, you mentioned earlier, is Old Dominion. They have not done well. They did not play in 2020. The only team in Conference USA, or one of the few, that did not play. They had a losing record in 2019. They fired Bobby Walder. This year they're going to have another losing record, and there's absolutely no buzz about them right now. Most people don't even know the name of the coach.
1-6. There's not really much there that's unless you're an alumni, unless you just have season tickets and don't know what else to do with them. That's the only people that are really paying attention to this team. And they've modeled their stadium. That they've done all this stuff just to put out a losing team. That is not going to last long. Mm-hmm. That is not something that coaches' heads roll, unfortunately, when things like that happen. When you put all this money into doing something the right way and then the product does not match the view.
And I'm not knocking the Old Dominion coach, but it's a lesson. You got to vet people you deal with, whether you're dating somebody, whether you're hiring somebody, whether it's your neighbor. You want to vet a little bit, because if you don't vet, sometimes, you might get blindsided. And what's going on right now, I'm not saying that's the case at Old Dominion. They're not playing, and like Virginia Tech, they're under a lot of fire too. When you start losing home games, and you mentioned football, you might play 5, 6, 7 at home. That's not a lot. You lose revenue, you lose advertising, you lose marketing, and guess what, Jay Lee? You lose interest.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the issue is, because I haven't been and seen any games myself, but honestly, just 1-6 record, it calls for a change. And then it seems like the change that they're making is to the Sun Belt. That is going to be a tough transition unless you're able to bring in the recruits that deserve to be in the Sun Belt. So I guess Conference USA just wasn't cutting it for a lot of schools. I mean, all these schools are running away from this conference and joining other ones. I saw it where I don't think they even brought in $1 million. It was under $1 million that ODU even brought in for the Conference USA in general. That is not going to get it done. And the media coverage, where is that at? But at the same time, they're 1-6. There's nothing to cover.
And the TV package, I've worked some of their games before in the past. The worst TV package in the history. I mean, at least Virginia and Virginia Tech are on the ESPN family of networks, real on ESPN. We're ESPN2. UVA is doing better than Virginia Tech is. At least they're winning some games. But Old Dominion really just needs to do a stress test here and just learn everything about themselves, because everything's under the microscope right now.
Well, the only saving grace for the football team is that college basketball is about to start up. So hopefully they can just turn the page there as far as fans, and they can have something else to pull for, because 1-6, I mean, I'm not even sure that's a call for any of the fans that want to show up and support.
You talk about what you do on the weekends. You mentioned your girlfriend. That's one thing that is not an option right now. You're not going to spend 4 to 5 hours watching a team get killed at a time set for convenience for the Old Dominion people. That's a lot of problems too. As we talked about, you and I talked about day games and night games. If you want to draw people on a Saturday at UVA and Tech, now Tech, I get it, 3:30 start. You know, TV dictates a lot of it. But Old Dominion, they're not on TV that much. They don't need to be playing at night. I think Virginia's not drawing as well either, because they're playing a lot of night games. A lot of the Virginia alumni are older, you know, like your dad's age or even older than that. They like those 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock games, especially when it's in November when it's cold. Yeah,
and my parents are proud alumni of ODU. They get tickets from time to time, and they've even asked me if I wanted the tickets, and I'm just like, not this year.
Yeah, not this year. There was a buzz. There was a waiting list at one time.
But that's a whole pool of money that you're missing out on. You get the fans, you get the season ticket holders, but it's called bringing in other viewers, bringing in people that are interested in, whoa, what's going on down there on Hampton Boulevard?
Right. And I got to give you a credit. You remind me a lot of myself when I was younger, too. And I'm not that much older than you are, but still, that, you know, when you work with people like you do every day in life, whether it's business, personal, sales, whatever, you're thrown a lot of egos are thrown at you, personalities, and you got to constrain. You got to keep that mouth, you know, kind of quiet sometimes, just like you're judging a football team or doing a talk show. But, you know, being in your position and my position, you know, sometimes less is more.
Well, that's something that I'm learning, too. I've been doing this for a little, almost a year now, and I don't have it in me necessarily to give these super harsh takes and ride a team into the ground and kick them when they're down and stuff like that. But the facts are facts. If you're 1-6, now there's talks about you making a conference change. Coach Ronnie says, hey, we're focused on Louisiana Tech, but in the same breath, that has been an afterthought for everything else. I mean, people are almost looking to next season.
If he has another year like this year in 2022, I'm not sure if there'll be a 2023, because, you know, regardless, they didn't play in 2020. I don't care. 2020 is gone. It's almost 2022 now. You have to win college football. Look, LSU just won a national championship, and now the coach is going to be gone. Regardless, okay, so what if he drank energy drinks? So what if he had some habits? Which adult doesn't have habits? But to get rid of the LSU coach that quick, when there are still several players on his team that were part of that national championship, he had a great quarterback, but, I tell you, it's a big business.
What's the nature of the beast? And in NFL, maybe coaches might have a little bit more leeway. There's other players that can step into a player's position if you want to cut him. But college, no, you get who you get, essentially. Whoever you recruited is who you have to hang your hat on, and you got to be able to trust these guys to get the job done for you. That's why heads roll a little bit quicker in college than they do in the NFL.
Absolutely. Final few moments here with Jay Lee. We appreciate his time, his talent, and his treasure. Let's go over to the NBA real quick. The Wizards, it's very difficult for them to make the postseason. I love going to NBA games more so than college games just because it's better basketball. It's a little bit different because it's 24 seconds. I do like that shot clock of 24 seconds. I do like college basketball too because I worked a lot of games there as well all over the country. But there's nothing like the NBA in person. NBA in person is a treat I recommend everybody to experience. It's difficult maybe to go to an NFL game. I get it. But the NBA, you got over 40 home games. The NFL usually have 8 or 9 home games.
Well, I saw a tweet the other day. I think it was at the Barclays Center, and someone tweeted, "Hey, you can go get a fancy Frappuccino, or you can buy a Nets ticket for $7." Granted, it might have been a little bit of nosebleeds, but hey, I'll take the Nets ticket over a fancy Frappuccino any day. Another thing you mentioned too about the Washington Wizards, I don't remember them ever being able to get the job done without Bradley Beal, and they won a game early on in the season without Bradley Beal. This is energy that you're getting out of Montrezl Harrell, that you're getting out of Kuzma, which I was iffy about getting rid of because I'm a Lakers fan, but it seems like he's able to flourish elsewhere without maybe the chokehold of LeBron and that greatness and that pressure. He's just playing more freely. But it's amazing that even the Bulls too. I think it was their first 4-0 start in like 25 years. I mean, that's dating back to Jordan.
Yeah,
there's some amazing things happening in the NBA. Some of the landscape is changing a little bit, but ultimately, you know, this is a fresh season for these guys. They got at least a decent amount of time off, but I think this is like almost a third season within 1 year. It's kind of crazy to say.
I think Kuzma's a great fit for the Wizards because he was, you know, he would have been behind Westbrook and LeBron and AD. Now, the Lakers are old. Will they be there in the spring for the NBA Finals, or will it be other teams that like Phoenix that are just too young?
I think Phoenix is going to cause a lot of trouble. They are young. They have almost a perfect balance of experience and youth in Devin Booker too. I mean, he scored the most postseason points in anyone's first postseason in NBA history. That's a guy you can hang your hat on. And you got CP3, a dog, DeAndre Ayton. There's Michael Bridges. There's so much there for Phoenix that, yeah, I mean, load management is going to play a key, and that also speaks back to the ticket. Maybe that $7 price is because some of these guys are going to be load managing. You're not going to be able to see Kevin Durant or Harden yet. We ain't even seen Kyrie yet, so that's something else that kind of is factored in. You don't really see necessarily load management in the NFL.
Yep, final few moments. Hot seat, of course, is the Virginia Tech football coach. The Old Dominion coach is not on the hot seat yet, but I think he will be if they have another losing record in 2022. And, of course, you just never know. The bottom line is you got to just win.
Yeah, it's something that is got a very short leash. Losing gives you a much shorter leash. Having a losing record, losing games at home, much shorter leash. So these are things that are definitely developing, and we will likely see some changes this year.
All right, Outback Steakhouse, dine in, enjoy the nice staff there, spacious, nice dining area, bar, lunch and dinner daily, burgers, steaks, soups, salads, appetizers, something for everyone, ribs, chops, of course, great beverages, adult beverages too, dine in or carry out. Go by and see Mike and the friendly staff at 1255 Fordham Drive in Kempsville. Give them a call at 523-4832.
I worked for Mike Jarrett, and he actually texted me the other day. We had this inside joke, but it's been years since I've worked there. But Mike Jarrett is a really good dude. He'll take care of you.
Yes, he will. Great restaurant, great experience. You know, even for those of you watching your diet, they got great steak and chicken and, of course, fish as well. So thank you so much. Go and leave us with a parting shot here on Sports Scene.
So, Greg, I appreciate you having the time to take me today, and you can catch me on Sports Radio 96.5 FM, 8:50 a.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays. We open the phone lines for calls. We give away prizes. You know, we're giving away tickets to some of and we got college basketball coming up, so we'll have some tickets for that as well. I know everyone's a huge college football fan, but college basketball is kind of where I want to be.
Absolutely. And the final thing, I've been loving this Peyton Manning and his brother doing the simulcast on ESPN2. True story, I met Steve Levy. I was doing my internship at WCBS. He was working for WABC radio. Think about this, ABC, CBS. They have flagship stations in New York that are heard in their market, of course. Mike Francesa worked at WFAN for years. He's the godfather of sports talk radio. But I met Steve when he was in his 20s. And one time he had a crash in my dorm room at George Mason. So he does the Monday night games. But I'll tell you what, I prefer the simulcast. I like it. I like the hardcore NFL on Sundays. But the Manning brothers are just like, going with the flow.
It's something different, Greg. It's something that will win awards. It'll be up there with the the TNT show that they do with basketball. It's going to be held in that realm because it's drawing people and it's marketable. For example, just a screenshot of whatever the heck they're saying will get put on everyone's social media because they're having guys like Marshawn Lynch come on during the game, Tom Brady come on during the game.
Drew Brees.
During the game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff that you're not really used to seeing. You're used to just hearing them in the background. Maybe, Troy Aikman and them bring in, an analyst or something. But no, you're actually getting to sit down, watch these guys.
Casually.
It's a different type of view, and people are going to gravitate towards it.
They should ask Drew Brees, how is it watching the Saints? Because he's still, in the fringe from just retiring. And when he sees the team, they're playing good. They're not playing great. I love Kamara, though. God, I love that kid.
Well, the second Drew Brees went and got, his hair plugs and stuff, that's when he was done putting on a helmet because clearly you can't put on a helmet and so have those. He's got some work done. I don't blame him. He's on TV, but he's definitely had some work done.
He's a hippie compared to me, though. But we'll leave it on that note. Of course, all right, Sports Scene, and of course, one more time, plug your show, the name of it.
Sports Radio 96.5 FM and 8:50 AM, Sports Insight 757 with Jay Lee, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays.
All right, very good. Sports Scene will continue after these messages.
It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
Highlights, gjbtv.com, hrsmhof.com, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Greg Bicouvaris along with Colleen. gjbtv.com. Click the YouTube link on the homepage for archived audio and video and sports scene. Question of the day to Colleen, our esteemed general manager and producer. Colleen, what is the one fruit that you enjoy the most, and what is your favorite candy?
Well, for fruit, I'd have to say pineapple because it's tropical and makes me think of summertime, so I like pineapple. And for candy, oh my goodness, there's so many different kinds, but right now I'd have to say Twix is probably my favorite, that caramel chocolate.
That's really good. Of course, I would say apples and oranges. I'm pretty basic for fruit. And as far as candy, anything with peanut butter and chocolate. So hopefully Brenda from the Royal Chocolate will hook us up here.
There you go.
You like candy apples too.
Very good. They are nice.
All right. Sports Scene will continue after these messages. Just a reminder, folks, Sports Scene is taped right here at the studios of WPMH, and portions of this program are pre-recorded. Thank you for listening to Sports Scene on the radio and online.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg.
And welcome back to Sports Scene at Greg Bick on Twitter. Don't forget to go to gjbtv.com. Click the YouTube link on the homepage for archived audio and video and Sports Scene interviews. It's a pleasure to talk to George McClain from the Marksman. George, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, Greg. How about yourself?
Very good. I'm going to get right off to it. Our hot topic, of course, for the month of November is the latest on the Alec Baldwin prop gun shooting. George, you and I talk every single month about how to be careful with a gun. This is an adult man on a movie set. Nobody's a threat to nobody. And the only thing they tell you before you handle a gun is to check it, and to check it. Nothing happened from the handoff, and now you lost a life over it.
Yeah, well, some of these actors think they're experts in anything from politics to firearms to whatever the subject happens to be, and this is not one of my favorite guys. But aside from that, there's at least two people responsible for that. Number one, Baldwin himself, and number two, probably more importantly, is that they have an armorer that handles, and most of my understanding is most of these Hollywood sets, when they have firearms being used, that they do have an armorer that is the firearms expert, and he's the one that sets everything up. If they need blanks in it, they do blanks. I don't know all the particulars on this deal. I don't think it was a blank. It was actually cartridges, as many people got hit. Yeah, but you be safe. And yes, I know, in acting they're pointing firearms, but you want to, make sure that that thing is as safe as it can be, and brief the person that is going to be using it if they're not, typically using firearms, but they are in this particular case because he's an actor. Get him up to speed on what's going on. But I fault the armor for that probably a little more than Baldwin himself. Baldwin's not an expert. The armorer should have been.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin was told gun and fatal shooting on set was safe. Officials say no excuse. The assistant director of Baldwin Film fired after a 2019 mishap. All this is coming up afterwards. No excuse. You got to check it. I don't like Alec Baldwin. If I actually see him on TV, I will change the channel before I even have a chance to cough. He's just not a good person, and I'm sorry. And you got to check things. You need to check a squirt gun. You don't even need to point a squirt gun to nobody, let alone a loaded gun. How about checking it first, taking a second? What's the rush? It's a movie.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
All right, George, let's talk about what's going on at the store. Now we're evolving into November here, and of course, tell us what's been going on with Military Mondays, First Responder Fridays, and are things starting to seem to get back to normal as far as the retail end of the store?
I'm not going to use that word normal yet, but it is slowly, and I mean very slowly, starting to head that direction towards normal. I think it's going to be a while before we see normal, but the product is starting to loosen somewhat. Ammo is still tough, but it's not impossible to get. We just the ammo is like the guns used to be. We get what they give us, with the ammo deal, and we buy all we can buy to get it in. So it's not like we can jump on online or on the phone to our distributor and say we need 6 cases of 9mm. They may call and say we've got 6 boxes of 9, and would you like that? Yeah, sure, send it. We need all we can get. So we're still kind of playing that game, but we do see slightly and a bit of improvement.
Absolutely. Talking to George McClain from the Marksman. And George, we talk about state laws. You grew up in West Virginia, but there's differences even between Newport News and Yorktown and other cities too. You have to be cognizant of the county or city you're living in as far as handling guns and property, and also shootings too.
Well, that's right. There's a handful of cities within the state that have some special firearm laws that you can't have like a 223 with over I think it's a 20-round magazine in the thing, and that's within these city limits. So you need to be, depending on where you live. I think Virginia Beach is one. Newport News maybe one. They've got some of the Northern Virginia cities, Fairfax and Loudoun County, all that up there has got I think some special deals. So depending on where you live, you really need to look at your local laws and find out what those requirements are. So we want to say law abiding. What that means is you get yourself educated on what those local laws are.
In Georgia, of course, November is an election month, and a lot of these elected officials, they have a lot of say with criminals behind bars and guns as well. Yeah,
they do. And I guess that's one of my pet peeves. I guess everyone knows there's no secret that my political affiliation is conservative, and I don't care for the liberal set wanting to forgive criminals their criminal past and giving everyone the right to vote. And they're talking about even having, if you're still incarcerated, letting them vote, and we all know what that is. It's the same thing with letting all the illegals in and giving them the right to vote, is that they want to get all the votes that they can get for their liberal set, but they're going to kill this country in the process.
Yeah, I understand the whole pardon thing, but let's just do it by the time you're ready to get out of office. Let's don't do all of it all inclusive. One thing, George, before the interview, we talked about AR-15 specialists. Why are there so many people that claim to be AR-15 specialists?
Well, that's a good question, Greg. I don't know, other than the fact that someone will go out and buy whatever they happen to buy, and there's folks like that, male and female, that whatever they get, that makes them an expert the minute they pick them up. Now the intelligent ones, they'll ask questions, they'll come in and they'll check with us or someone like us, go to the gun shop and see if instruction is available. If they don't have any background, a lot of the guys are ex-military, and everyone in the military is fired, probably more than likely is fired a 223. At least back in my day, we did, or the M16, which is the military version of the full automatic of the AR-15 that we see in the civilian world. So, and that may be why you've got a lot of experts, but we've come to find out that there's a lot that they're far from being an expert, but in their minds they think they are.
You got it. Sometimes you just have to be careful and find out and be educated before you buy a gun, and because you'd be all inclusive with it. Just don't say I want to get this gun and know nothing about that gun just because it's fancy or it's being advertised that way. The phone number is 872-4130. George, give us your hours, location. You're pretty accessible to everybody on the peninsula and Hampton Roads.
Well, yeah, open up at 10 a.m. For the retail functions, and we're trying to get the hours back to where they were. So we're getting them now to 6, and we just bumped them up to 7 in the evening, and so we'll see how that goes, if we can maintain that with the staff we have, and the folks coming in. So that's a Monday through Saturday deal. So you come in and see us, and even after work, I think we have enough time now where you come in and you get off at 5 and get over there by 5:30. You still got plenty of time to shoot in the evening. And that was a big deal in trying to get those hours back to where they were regularly.
All right, George, what can people expect in November and December at Marksman?
Probably more of the same. Obviously, we're getting ready for the holidays, so I wouldn't wait if you have a specific request on a type of firearm that you want to get in. Maybe give it to Santa Claus to give to you or have ready to pick up. But I would get in and do that early because selection is going to be. Kind of what's available, and we have to, if you want something special, we have to keep our eyes open and look, as soon as it becomes available in the distributor system, that we can pick it up for you. So aside from that, we're just going to try to maintain the status quo and see how things roll.
Very good. Phone number there is 872-4130. George, thanks for your time, talent, and treasure, and we'll talk to you in November.
All right, Greg, you take care and stay safe out there.
You too, my friend.
What Tees You Off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
And one of our favorite segments, What Tees Me Off? Greg and Colleen right here, always fun here on Sports Scene. Colleen, when people randomly put flyers on your door, maybe we should think about it before we go trespass on somebody's property and say, is it really worth it?
I don't think people do that too much anymore, not as much. But yes, it's, you find those flyers in your door and it's like, okay, they just end up in the trash anyway.
Yes, absolutely, like junk mail. Trespassing is not good regardless on business or residential.
True.
Waiting on people in general, whether you're at a line at a drugstore, grocery store, bank, post office, it can be really a distraction.
Waiting in line. Yes, you have to make the most of it, and I know people check their phones and do different things, or maybe you can strike up a conversation, you never know.
But just waiting on people for action, regardless.
Oh, to move ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Whether it could be a business proposal or just anything, waiting on something.
Oh, I'm so distracted by that. True.
Having to walk a half a mile away from your destination. I had to walk recently the last several weeks for about a half a mile from my car to the Washington football team's arena, and it really is really difficult first thing on a Sunday morning.
To get up and go?
No, to move from the car to the arena and walk a half a mile to where you got to go. I like parking close and just walking right in.
Do you circle around to find the closest spot?
No, I got to park in a designated area.
There you go.
When office managers answer the phone, this has happened to everybody, and of course you're calling and saying, is so-and-so there? And they already know the person's there because it's a small building, and they say the famous words, let me check. You know the person knows already.
I've done that before, right, Greg? That's why you're saying that. No, we've done that because you want to make sure somebody's available for it. In our situation, you might be in the middle of recording or something.
Exactly. Too much of one thing is not good.
No, balance, for sure.
This is something we all happen during the holidays, but really 12 months out of the year, holidays or no holidays, lack of me time.
Oh, yes. You need to take some time for yourself. I know that's difficult to do, but it's important as well.
This happens every day. Spam emails, bot emails, and scam callers.
Delete, and don't answer.
Yeah, they have area codes and phone numbers that don't work either.
That's true.
And then, of course, what goes hand in hand with that is clickbait.
Oh, yes. It always pops up on you, and it's just distracting and not good.
On your phone or your computer. All right, Sports Scene will continue after this. Just a reminder, folks, Sports Scene is taped right here at the studios of WPMH, and portions of this program are pre-recorded. Thank you for listening to Sports Scene on the radio and online.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene right here. Let's talk to Brenda Tusing, the proud owner of the Royal Chocolate in Virginia Beach. Brenda, how are you?
I'm great today. How are you, Greg?
Very good, very good. Tell us, like you always do, in the fourth quarter of the year, how many years now for you and Terry at the Royal Chocolate?
So are you ready? Are you sitting down? On December 15th, it will be 15 years.
Wow.
So we're trying to plan a little something special. And then, of course, our anniversary comes right in the middle of our most hectic season. So it's hard to pay much attention to it, but we're trying.
Very nice, very nice. Well, let's talk about what is the store look like for November when you first walk in, and talk about what you've got in the store.
So everything is changing, of course, for the fall. The colors, all the oranges and browns, and then we'll go right into the greens and the reds, of course. But it's getting very festive in here. We get constant deliveries of new products. So if you haven't been in for a while, you need to come back in and see what we've got. It's absolutely beautiful. Thanksgiving is our next big event. And holiday, we have a lot of. I don't know if I wish I could take you on a visual tour.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got the big turkeys that are all foil wrapped. They're just beautiful. And then the little smaller, almost place setting size chocolate turkeys. Lots of fun for Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving baskets are stunning. They're great for if you want to give a gift to someone, or you just want to have it, in your home for people to enjoy a variety of chocolates. We are shipping now. We've opened up our shipping portal on our site and in our store. So in addition to local delivery, which we always do, we will be shipping. So if you've got something you want to send something to somebody special, call us up. We can help you. The apples, which are currently we have the special of the month apple pie. In addition to the caramel, it has a layer of pumpkin fudge, and then it's dipped in dark milk or white chocolate. Let me see. We have the cutest little 4-piece gift box. It's only $7.75, and it's got 4 truffles in a pretty brown box with a gold ribbon on it. It's a great little gift. So lots of gifting going on. Truffles that are shaped like turkeys and pumpkins. And I'm looking around going, oh, my gosh, I don't have enough time in this guy's day to tell him everything I have. Lots of fun things for the kids, lollipop sort of things on a stick, Rice Krispie treats decorated for the holidays. Kids love it in here. Just before I forget, too, we've got lots of beverages, hot chocolates. I'm looking up there. We do a happy hour Tuesday through Friday from 1 to $4 off. And then in November, we're going to be doing our corporate open house on the 11th, where companies can save really big on getting their orders in and placed. So, yeah, we're doing a lot of things, and on that kind of note, we're really encouraging people this year, please shop early. You don't have to take it home. You don't have to have it shipped till the holidays, but please get in here and get your orders placed and paid for, and then let us take it from there.
Brenda, gift baskets and gift cards are both really handy.
They are. They're great, and they are very much appreciated. We have some beautiful items that make we at the holidays. Personal consumption is always a thing for us. People coming in and buying things that they like, that they want for themselves. But now they're looking at us with a different eye because we are such an easy to work with, great product. It's visually attractive, and the quality of it is spectacular. So you can never go wrong with a gift card, a gift basket, anything in between from the Royal Chocolate. Absolutely can't miss.
You got it. Talk about your store hours, Brenda.
Right now we have somewhat abbreviated hours. We're no different than everybody else. Staffing's a little tricky. Everything's a little tricky. So we are now closed on Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday, we are open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., and then Sundays 12 to 5. We will have some additional hours probably that week before the Christmas. So you can always find that on our website, or you can sign up. You can look at our Facebook page. We try to stay pretty current on that as well.
Very good, very good. So really there's something for everyone. And
everybody, yes.
And people can sit down and they can drink some nice beverages as well.
Yeah, we have a really nice seating area. I'm standing there right now. We have all these tables and chairs. People can come in. You can do chocolate fondue with us. come in and enjoy and share chocolate fondue. We also have that can be packaged to go, take home. But it's really a nice area to just come in. We have two ladies that come in once a month. It's their little meetup day. They come in, they have fondue, they shop, and they sit here literally for hours and just enjoy each other's company. It's the nicest thing. So we've got a great, comfortable spot for sitting down and enjoying some chocolate.
Very good, very good. Well, what is the trend, Brenda? I mean, for the holidays, what are you seeing as a trend that people are, or a pattern that people are going to?
I think this year, and this was true somewhat last year as well, people still are not traveling as much or getting together as much, but they want to reach out. They want to say, hey, I'm thinking of you. I think this is especially important in the corporate world. Don't let people think you have forgotten them. No matter what the price point is, we can help you. The gift platters that we have are really nice for corporate clients to give as a gift to another company, very shareable. But I think that people are very interested in, what can I do to let somebody know that I'm here, I'm thinking of them, celebrate with them even though we can't be in person together. There's a lot of that sort of thought process. We hear that over and over. I won't be with my kids. I won't be with my family this Christmas, but I want them to have something local from here, and I want them to know I'm thinking of them.
Very good, very good. Well, you got a great staff there. Going to be busy the next 2 months. Always a fun time of the year. Talk about the Town Center and how are they enhancing the holidays this year?
Town Center is always. We had a really great event last Saturday, Town and Treat. The Town Center is really focused on family-friendly, free. So during the holidays, there will be free events in the square. Town Center also has a great Facebook page, Town Center Virginia Beach. Check that out and find out what's happening. But, yeah, there are a lot of events that will be happening. I think they're having the Strolling Santas back this year. There'll be something in the square. And to be honest with you, I'm not quite certain what it'll be yet. A lot of times they have the Santa Claus down there. Don't know if they'll do that this year. So, yeah, but they really endeavor to bring families to Town Center. Always some kind of entertainment going on around here.
Very nice. Brenda, give us all your social media.
Oh, guess what? This is we're on TikTok now.
Oh, wow.
I know. So we have somebody that helps us sometimes, especially now during the holidays. So we're on Facebook, of course, Instagram, and now we're on TikTok. And I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm a little afraid. But, yes, we are also on TikTok. So we're everywhere. We are everywhere. We have a great website, theroyalchocolate.com. You can shop with us very easily. And if you're not sure about that, don't want to do it that way, give us a call. We are more than happy to help you at any moment.
Yeah, I know you got a birthday in November, so all the best, Brenda. And
Thank you.
To you and your family, and we will see you soon.
Great. Nice talking to you, Greg. Thank you so much.
You too. Brenda Tusing right there from the Royal Chocolate. Her phone number is 557-6925. On the next episode of Sports Scene, we're going to take a deeper dive into the Washington football team, evaluate the entire 2021 season, what went right, what went wrong, and what needs to change on the next edition of Sports Scene.
Sports Scene, Hampton Road's premier interview show with Greg Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic and listen weekly as Greg interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
I want to thank our guests today, Jay Lee, George McClain, Brenda Tusing. For more, go to gjbtv.com. Click the YouTube link on the homepage. For Colleen, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll talk to you soon.